Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insight for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at nbnrpodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Utter. He's a junkyard dog.
Kenny Bell ran up to me. He's like, you know what you just did?
You get mad when you go get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Dang on it, Muhammad!
GBR.
Kyle. Love it, baby.
Right on time.
God, that's good.
That was way better than last week.
One of my favorite intros on podcasts.
You like that?
Yeah.
Kyle made that from scratch, and it do you know all the names in there? Do you know the recordings?
Oh, I could if I went back through it, I could probably pick them out.
Yeah. Like Boyd Epley.
I was
5 dumbbells.
Right.
And then of course,
what are you supposed to do with these?
Johnny the Jet's like, what are you gonna do? Go into portal and go to another podcast?
Yeah.
Which is very relevant for this episode today. So
Yeah, that's fair.
It is.
Right.
Before we get in all that, go Big Red indeed. No block, no rock. Season 3, episode 40. The Lance Brandenburg episode. Sure. Why not?
wow.
You like how I pulled that one out?
Yeah.
He's
Just
been
thought of
sitting
it.
on that all day.
No, I literally just thought of it.
Oh shit.
We are in the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room in their brewery where they brew these excellent libations.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I myself am drinking what's called Florida Man.
Yeah,
It
Florida
is
man.
new on tap.
It's like Florida, Nebraska.
The Florida Nebraska
God.
movement. Oh God. Please don't remind us of that. 5%. It's
Yeah.
like key lime pie in a glass.
And it
is-
really does. You even get like a little bit of graham cracker for like the crust. It's nice.
Now
I've
that
been,
you
like,
mention it.
Just
Yeah.
tasting those in my mouth. I keep spitting them out. Just kidding. It's
So-
good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like I said, 5%.
Yeah. Super limited release. So if you want to try it,
How much longer? Do you know?
we made like 2.5, 3 kegs of it. So if you want to try it, get into the tap room soon.
Okay. Mike, mute that shit.
Yep.
Mike's popular.
Wow,
He just
Mike-
wants to remind us at the beginning of every episode that people like him.
Oh, yes.
The irony would be if it was somebody texting him to remind him to mute his text.
Turn his shit off. Yeah.
Mike, come on. What are you drinking, Mike? You got a big glass over there.
I'm drinking a large Florida Man.
Yeah, it's the same beer.
And it's fucking hilarious because last year Kyle and we visited my uncle in Pensacola, and I tried this key lime pie beer, and I was like, Connor, you guys need to make a key lime pie beer, and he pretty much told me to fuck off. And now,
That's my standard response for
a
you.
year later, they have Florida Man, which literally tastes like a key lime pie in a glass. So it's really good.
And to boot, the logo, the ankle looks just like Mike's particle ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like backwards and shit, all fucked
Yeah.
up.
Just a ball of just whatever flesh and I don't know. They look
Yeah,
Particles.
He
Might
had
need to
particles
change
in
that.
there.
Yeah. KB.
I'm drinking the EOS Hefeweizen. Yeah. And I'm on a heater.
Yeah,
This
he
is
is.
like my 3rd week in a row.
I
Mike
know.
introduced me to this beer. I mean, they talk about it every week, and I'm just like, nah, I'll stick with my Taco Beza. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, EOS Hefeweizen, man. I'm on it.
Okay.
Connor, what are you drinking?
I'm not drinking Pilsner this week.
He's lying.
No, I'm totally lying. It's Pilsner. You
Yeah.
guys know that.
Had me
It's
excited for a second.
nah. I just wanted to see how you guys reacted. I drink Pilsner every week. That's why they're fucking with me. Yeah. You've heard.
He knows.
Yeah, I've
He's
heard.
listened to an
Yeah.
episode or two.
He's aware.
Yeah.
It's
He's
just
aware
a
of-
phenomenal beer, and it's low in alcohol. I can have more than like 2 of them and not feel like a piece of shit.
How many Florida Mans can you drink?
It's just like the same amount of alcohol.
Depends
so.
on whether or not he has to drive home.
Well, I can walk home. Yeah. I live like 3 blocks that way.
Nice.
You could see his house.
I can
from
lay
here.
on my side and roll down the hill and find myself at my front door. It's pretty great.
He can see the brewery from out of his backyard, right?
He doesn't have a backyard.
That's actually true.
Right.
Like off my deck. I totally can.
Okay, let's introduce our very special guest. We have with us Eric Francis, who is the lead photographer for Hail Varsity magazine. Yeah, I threw the
Been
lead
there
in there.
longest.
You've been there. You're the veteran. You're the senior member of,
Right.
of
They
Varsity
throwing a
magazine.
captain jersey on you yet?
No, I haven't gotten.
You don't get the
captain
C
jersey. I haven't
patch?
gotten the C patch yet.
Damn.
That's fucked up. We need to get you one.
Do they not know the talent that they got to hold on to you?
Come on, Chris,
They got to
come on,
shower
Bill.
you
Yeah.
with all kinds of
You
accolades.
get the hang the franchise tag.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You're due for your 3rd contract with Hail Varsity, right?
Yeah.
I'm well past the 3rd.
Hey, we can have Lamar Jackson represent you. He's done well recently.
Boy got paid.
Yes.
Boy got paid. We can say that.
Well, Eric, I have to say, I'm pretty sure that we have stolen probably a handful of your photos for some of our
I noticed.
Twitter posts.
He goes, I noticed. He walked in knowing that. That's actually the only reason he's here.
He's here to kick our ass later.
Yeah.
He's like, listen here. Ever heard of that? Ever heard of copyright?
Well, you know, every time we get an email, I'm like, damn it. Thought it was just, I'm sorry. Tell Eric I'm sorry. Hopefully you're not too mad about that.
We're just trying to get the content out there, the whole Herd App brand, right?
What am I supposed to use? Shitty photos? I want to use the best freaking photos.
No, don't use shitty photos.
Yeah.
So we can steal your photos. That's not what he said.
Not what he said.
I might have filled in the little gaps there. So what?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, come to the tap room, 108th and Harrison. And
Did we get
Levis,
to ask
Nebraska.
him what he's drinking? Did
Oh
we go
my
through
God.
that? Yeah,
You're
come
a
on.
piece of
Dude,
shit.
Hefeweizen.
See?
One and only.
My man.
Now, tell the story that you're telling us, right? Because you went to Germany, right?
Yeah, I originally went to college out of high school. I originally wanted to just teach something and coach football. That was my plan. And I figured a German major was as good as anything. And part of the major program at the school I was at was that we would go live there with the host family, and our whole class went, and we lived and went to class every day, but total immersion in the thing. So I learned at a very young age to drink good beer. And that's where I fell in love with Hefeweizen and Dunkelweizen. And then it was really, because that was in 89. And so you can imagine it was pre-microbrewery in America. Yeah. And I came back from Germany to America to, Bud Light and that shit.
No free plug.
I still remember like the first week I was back, a bunch of friends, hey, we're going out and sand volleyball and we're going to drink. And I'm like, all right, let's go. It drank. And by the end of the night, I was like, I'll drive.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because all we did for 6 months was like, we went to class. We went to class, and we drank.
Yeah.
And we drank really good beer
Naturally.
with higher alcohol content.
I mean,
so I came back with a killer tolerance.
Yeah.
And so for months, I was like the DD because I just couldn't even hardly get tipsy.
That's incredible. So he's like the opposite of Nori. We have Nori, the German exchange student that comes to Nebraska, and he is our American exchange student that goes to Germany, got taught up in beer.
Yeah.
From the word go.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
And you're saying, Connor, that your hef is banned in Germany.
Yeah, it happened a few years ago that we entered. It's called the European
Smells
Beer
like
Star.
Germany.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's a South Bavarian hef. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
it's where the best hef is made.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But yeah, the European competition that is like the most prestigious is European Beer Star. And as I'm sure you know, the Germans hate canned beer.
Yep.
They find it to be just off-putting.
Detestable.
They're wrong because cans are better for beer. The Germans, unfortunately, are wrong.
Hot take.
Yeah. Well, so you would say that, but we sent our hef over there in cans and we beat them. And so the Germans can have their opinions and they can voice them when they beat me.
And you wouldn't understand it if they
All
did.
out.
Yeah, they can voice them when they beat me. But no, yeah. So shortly after we win that award, we actually won 2 awards with 2 separate beers. The Cardinal Pale Ale also took a gold in that competition, which didn't shock me. But
Listen to this guy.
I love it, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of like
He's
it.
just dropping dicks on the table.
yeah, but it was shortly after that competition that our German importer let us know that, I don't think there's a market for your beer in Germany anymore. And we said, well, okay, like, we understand, but could you tell us why? And they let us know that the Germans were so mad that we beat them in their own category, getting poured out of a can, that they didn't want to buy our beer anymore.
That's kind of awesome.
And it's the greatest.
I would make a TV commercial.
Yeah.
A German beer is so good it's banned in Germany. That TV commercial
It
writes
pisses the
itself.
Germans
Yeah.
off.
That's fantastic.
It was the greatest compliment I think I've ever been given.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It was like, your beer is so good that we can't sell it anymore because they hate that you're American and they hate that it's in a can and they hate that you make it better. It's a German style and they hate that you make it better than the Germans. Again,
it is the best beer on tap in Nebraska Brewing Company.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that right now.
they can have their opinions, and like I said, they can voice them when they beat us.
They lose in world wars and they lose.
Yeah.
Oh no!
well, okay.
All right.
I was talking beer.
Let's go there.
I said they lost, not won. Jesus,
I know.
come on.
I know, but Jesus.
Speaking of the transfer portal,
Nice transition.
you like that?
Very smooth.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The skill. Transfers. Now, the most notable one, Casey Thompson, moving on.
Emergency pods left and right.
Yep.
Yeah.
People freaking out. And I'm not going to say I'm freaking out, but I am just a little bit, worried.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just go around, just give our kind of impressions on Casey Thompson leaving. I'll just start and say it was probably naive to think we could keep both Casey Thompson on the roster along with Jeff Sims. It just seemed like it was too good of a story to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Like two prominent, experienced starters on the same roster. It's like Nebraska, this has never happened for us, so why would it start this year?
Right.
It's just too good. But Michael Delaware?
Yeah.
Go ahead, bud.
I mean, it was expected, in my opinion. It's his dad said it himself. We're not coming here to sit on the bench. Charles spoke that into existence over the offseason. And to me, it's just, Casey, he's a 8th year senior or whatever. He's been in college forever. Why would he come here and sit behind a guy when he was the starting quarterback last year? He wants, not only is it a good opportunity for him to go elsewhere because he's going to be the starter wherever he ends up, but his NIL value couldn't be any higher. He's probably the highest NIL valued quarterback in the portal right now with the amount of reps he's taken. He started now at 2 Power 5 schools and probably a 3rd coming up. So to me, it's not expected. It kind of sucks, losing him, and you lose Smothers and you lose Torres. But, that's the world of football that we live in now. So let's just pray that Jeff Sims is the first quarterback that doesn't get hurt at Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I wasn't shocked. Like everybody was, freaking out. And I'm like, I mean, are you really that shocked? But anyway, I'm just to speak on your, concerns. It is totally that. Jeff Sims has a pretty good possibility, especially if they're going to start running the quarterback more, that he's going to get hurt. Knock on wood, he doesn't, but we kind of know what the deal is. And we saw what happens when the one goes down and what we currently have on the roster has to step up. Granted, last year was against a lot of good defenses, but that's
the Big Ten, though. I mean, you're going to play against them again. So
yeah, so that's kind of what my thoughts are on it.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to parrot the same opinions. It was the least shocking news in the world. When we got Jeff Sims, I remember us having this exact conversation about because I feel like we all kind of knew, especially with Casey coming off the injury, that Sims was going to get all the reps in the spring, and that when it became clear that Jeff was the starter, that Casey would be likely leaving. The rumor, where the smoke is, like Mike said earlier, is that he's going to Auburn. And I think that's a very interesting move for Casey.
Yeah.
Again, I would probably be going somewhere where my competition wasn't the SEC, so I can because he didn't have a great season last year.
He was fine.
He was fine, but like I'd be going somewhere where I can really showcase myself. But yeah, the depth is obviously a concern. I think you'd be a lunatic to not say that.
Yeah.
I think when you were just talking about where Casey would go now, you could also make the argument that if he goes someplace that has an offensive line, maybe he can showcase himself a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. That's fair too.
I agree.
Yeah.
As far as him leaving, I was insanely hopeful, but not surprised. I think it's, and we've been talking about it a lot, mostly Brady and I, that it might just be a product of the portal era we're in, unless you are Georgia, Alabama, or Ohio State that has 5-star quarterbacks stacked up in your room, and losing one isn't a big deal because you're going to replace them with another one next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very likely that the gap between 1s and 2s, particularly in quarterback rooms, is going to widen.
Oh yeah.
And we're just going to have to get used to the idea of having a quality number 2 who's, maybe 1A, 1B is probably going to go away unless you are the Ohio States and Alabamas and Georgias,
USC
that just have them stacked up, right?
Yeah.
So we might just have to get used to that idea that
I think we are kind of used to it now.
Well,
especially after last year.
But I think it's not going to just be a Nebraska thing.
Right.
No,
I think it's going to affect everybody who's not a top 5 program.
But you bring up an excellent point about, going to a higher end program as long as he's got an offensive line. And obviously, in my opinion, offensive line has always been the most valuable unit on the field.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
But now the value skyrockets with the widening between QB1 and QB2 because you have to make sure that QB1 doesn't leave the field.
Right.
Because if you have that big disparity in talent or capability, I got to make sure my number one guy stays out there all season.
Mm-hmm.
And so it becomes infinitely more valuable to have this very, very well-trained offensive line.
You said ability, though, and I think it's not even ability; it's experience.
And that's fair too. I
these
think it's
guys
both.
are leaving; they're not groomed. And Nebraska was in a weird situation where we had 3-4 guys on the roster that have been groomed and have actually played real snaps in the Power 5. So you don't really see that, and you're not going to see that because guys are going to leave before they're actually groomed. We are kind of fortunate that Chubba Purdy has had some experience at Florida State and a little bit at Nebraska. So, it's a small sample size, but at least he's played. The lights have been on. He's actually had to play.
He started the big house.
Yeah, he had to start at the big house.
Is he really
it
our
wasn't
number
great.
2?
Probably.
I would assume.
Did you see the spring game?
It depends on how much weight you put behind spring games. Now, the fact that they wanted to simulate the spring game as close to a real game as possible, I think this past one holds more weight than past spring games where it was
totally agree.
where it was two-hand touch and tag and all that shit.
Practice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you point to the spring game and it's like you watch Harburg go, what was it, 2 for 9 for -1 yards. It's like, oh, damn. All this talk this offseason about him being a Vince Carter dunker.
Yeah, I'll play devil's advocate on that and say, you guys know the passing game is a timing game, and a familiarity with your receivers. When they've been working the passing game in spring, how many reps did he get with each individual receiver? There's no,
right.
So you would hope that those reps will come along, that timing will come along. And to be honest, we don't have Trey Palmer to just chuck the ball down the field and know that he's going to run under it.
Yeah.
Right.
That fuck it. Trey's down there somewhere.
Yeah.
And shout out Trey Palmer got drafted this weekend.
Congrats to Trey.
Yeah, somebody did a post about that yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah,
just chuck it.
So whoever the Tampa Bay quarterback is,
just chuck
is it Baker?
Well, Baker can't throw it that far. So
that is as long as they're not playing press coverage on him.
Right. Yeah. Well, come on. I can't have nuance in a TikTok. Okay. I can't have that. So there was a little bit of hope going around Husker Nation that, Casey left, but there might be just a sliver of hope that Logan Smothers, even though he's testing the waters, maybe he'll come back. Well, a tweet came out today pretty much confirming that he was gonzo.
Yep, close the door.
So, yeah, we are back to Chubba, Harburg, behind Sims. And, I just think depth, just considering the type of style that they're going to play, it's going to be a little bit of a concern to me. But we can move on to running backs.
Before we do that, though, it makes me wonder. So the style of offense that we want to play and Matt Rule wants to play is that quarterback-centric run game. Do you think, and I'll ask this around the table, do you think that they would consider using Heinrich as a Taysom Hill type player? And even though we have a dual threat in Jeff Sims, do you think they would still bring him in for running situations to keep the reps off Jeff?
I've taken what Matt's been saying and Satterfield's been saying a little. It sounds like you guys are thinking they're going to be running a lot of
I think a lot of RPO.
There a lot of RPO. They're going to be running some more RPO. But when I listen to him talk, like Matt has said from day one, that he wants to run a more pro style offense.
Okay.
Right? Which is hand the ball to the running back.
Mm-hmm.
step back, but with the option of if the quarterback gets in trouble, he can hurt you. Right. So
threat, yeah.
so that you're going to force the defense to have a spy on him, because you can't just leave him back there unaccounted for. You're going to have to play 11 on 11. That's what I heard from Matt and Satterfield when they're talking, was that they want to play a style of offense that makes them play 11 on 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not 11 on 10.
More traditional
Right.
run game,
Like a pro style offense. We're going to huddle.
Yeah.
We're going to call the play. We're going to turn and we're going to hand the ball to the running back, traps, leads, pull, all that stuff. But and then they're going to, I would imagine they'll probably do a lot of motion and try and get you to, motion yourself out of a defense.
Mm-hmm. So I'd imagine
they're going to do it with the basic philosophy of keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Hey.
So I'd imagine it probably looks a little bit like what Minnesota was doing last year, but with a quarterback that can run and has hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can run that offense with him with Jeff standing back there, but you're going to have to put a spy on him, because otherwise, if you just leave him, he'll see an opening, he'll take off and grab 10, 12 yards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I think you're absolutely right about just traditional run game and all that. The last quarterback to start an entire season, does anyone know off the top of their head?
No. You're just going to make me sad.
I want to say
I know that's coming.
I want to say like Zach Lee.
It's honestly not that far back.
I was going to say, I don't think
it's even after him.
I don't think it's as far back as you think.
No.
Adrian?
Is it Taylor?
Tommy Armstrong.
Well, it wouldn't have been
2014.
Yeah.
Tommy was before Tanner, though. I was Tanner Lee. Just saying.
Right. But you said Zach Lee.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I said both.
That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. But yeah, so 2014, almost 10 years ago.
So
he did make it that
a little while. Yeah.
I do, because I got really excited when Mike said one name, and he said Taysom Hill.
Oh yeah, I saw. Did you see his eyes?
Yeah, he almost jumped out of his chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I talked about this, this last season with the use of Logan Smothers, and I thought Logan Smothers really fit the build for that kind of gadget player.
Yeah.
Harburg does as well.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that get worked into the offense. It's something like when you bring a guy like that out and you've got no fucking clue what they're about to do, it makes a defense
makes their butt pucker just a
makes them
little
shit
bit.
their pants.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Like having that gadget player is like, dude, this guy can throw for -1 yards in spring game.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is like exactly what I was wanting Scott to do a few years ago when he had, you had
Luke.
you had Luke who like, it made you uncomfortable not having him on the field, right?
Yeah.
He was such a great athlete, and we could play him at running back. He could go out and run a pattern, right? I was of the opinion, why is not like half of our offense with him on the field? Because all of a sudden, like you're saying, you could make them have to think about everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
all of a sudden, a halfback pass becomes not a gimmick play, but an actual threat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because against Ohio State, he was chunking them for 20, 30 yards.
Right.
I mean, they were just putting him on a wide receiver. He was putting him in the backfield. I mean, he was everywhere.
Dude, gadget players get me going.
Well, and Heinrich, he's also like a ridiculously tall. So, like, if you did actually line him up in the slot or actually line him up at tight end or something, he's a freak athlete.
He can dunk.
Well, who gave that away, right? He could actually be a threat in the other positions, too. I know that he is focusing on quarterback, but if Satterfield and Rule want to get creative, that would be kind of fun.
He fits the mold.
He can dunk, right? Do a jump pass, Tebow style, if you got to do it. Whatever.
That's another joke I make all the time, both on episodes and in our group chat.
Yes.
Anytime Harburg gets brought up, I just say, you guys know he can dunk?
Cool.
Yes,
I hope so. He's like 6'9". Jesus
I
Christ.
heard he can dunk.
Now, going back to the style of offense that Coach Sat and Rule want to run, one of the running backs that they will not be handing off to is A.J. Allen.
Wait, why not?
Because he gone. He gone.
What is it? What I said earlier?
Go.
I said, "Oh darn, running back 4 is gone."
RB4 is gone. And,
Who's freaking out? Is anybody really freaking out?
Freaking out might be a little hyperbolic.
No.
Okay.
I
Mitch
got
Sherman was pretty freaking out.
Yeah, he did say big. I think he said big, like
Bigly.
twice.
Huge.
Big loss.
Clickbait.
I got
Clickbait.
a text. It was minutes after the announcement that he had entered the portal. And I got a text that Allen in the portal. What the fuck is going on?
What the fuck?
And then the next text was losing season. And I said, you need to calm the fuck down.
You know what you should have said was, Daddy chill.
Yeah.
That I really, like you said, losing RB4 is not going to move my over underline like Casey did.
Yeah.
Right.
Casey's a much bigger
Casey
loss.
leaving. I was having a conversation with my son. I said, Casey leaving immediately moves my over underline number
Mine
of
too.
wins. Right.
Mhm.
Like
We'll ask you about that later.
Yes,
Oh,
we
yeah.
will.
I just don't get, like, AJ Allen had flashes.
Yeah.
He had flashes. And I believe we've had this exact conversation on previous episodes. He had flashes, but he was never like the guy, like, he's not our bell cow.
No.
No.
When the news was announced last night, do you know what my reaction was?
Me.
Duh.
Again.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
It was the same.
Not even duh. It was just like,
Yeah. It was the same
okay.
reaction I had for Casey. It's a good career move. You understood you weren't going to get that much
it's
playing
not
time
the
here.
same reaction at all.
No,
I expected Casey, but I was not happy about it.
I wasn't happy about it, but looking from the player side, it's a good career move for Casey. He's going to get more playing time, and he needs that because he's a grad
I
transfer.
could make a devil's argument for that.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, Casey very well could have beat Jeff out. Who knows? And
Well, he very well could have, but the only reason I was holding on to Casey staying was that if he really does want to be a coach,
there you go.
right? Being the 1B in this offense and helping Jeff prepare every week and get through the season and probably play at some point, because we all agree that the likelihood of Jeff making it through the season is low. So, and probably play an integral role in how this season plays out. And then next year, transfer to being a grad coach
right
and
underneath the staff.
And start your coaching tree under Matt Rule, I think would be a brilliant career move.
Invaluable.
Not a football career move,
Sure.
but an actual lifelong career move to start your coaching tree here under Matt, who has a track record of training young coaches.
Garrett McGuire.
It seems even before Garrett.
Well, but that's the most recent example.
And so it just seemed like that's what I would think of as the career move. Him leaving and moving, and that's the immediate ego move. In my, like, if he was truly thinking a career move, he'd just stay.
Well, I think he's still trying to bet on himself that he thinks he can play at the next level, which
I don't know.
I don't see that happening.
I see his,
unless he goes to the Bucks and throws it up to Trey.
I think somebody really close to him, I won't say, but is probably been in his ear a lot.
Yeah.
But dude, you should leave. You should be playing. You should be starting.
See, you know what's curious about that? As I know we were talking about AJ Allen transferring, but the timing is just really weird because he was out all spring. He knew he was going to be out all spring. And so did he look at Jeff Sims and go, oh shit, like he's actually pretty good and I'm not going to overtake him. So was that the deciding factor was Jeff Sims is really good. I'm not going to beat him out. I'm not as good as him.
Yeah.
Well, like we said when Jeff got announced that he was coming to Nebraska, we're like, okay, so Casey's out all spring.
And you got Rule going out there saying, he's an NFL
He's an
quarterback.
NFL guy and all this other stuff, like just getting all this praise and stuff. Like, you're right.
And maybe he is. We'll see.
Yeah.
And again, I think a big head start for Sims was the fact that Casey was out all
hurt.
spring,
Right.
and he was learning this new offense. Well, Casey's kind of just hanging out watching from the sidelines. And so that it becomes even more difficult to come in, like you don't actually get to take these reps, and now you've got to come in and compete with a guy who's been doing it for months. It's a lot more difficult. So again, best of luck to Casey. I understand it. I would have liked him to stay, but I get it.
Yeah, and he said, like, I guess in his exit meeting of the spring, they asked him to stay here and compete for the starting job, and he decided to do differently. So, I mean, Rule did what he wanted to do, Satterfield did what he wanted to do, and Casey's doing what he wants to do. So,
yeah,
whatever.
Okay, so on AJ Allen,
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm going to say is I'm not freaking out. I'm not anything like that. But like we talk about Matt Rule being a developer of talent all the time. And so this is known as like the transfer portal problem, right? In our group chat, where it's like, okay, maybe you are RB4 this year, but in 2 years down the line, you very well could be RB1. You played as a freshman, you got hurt, and now as soon as you get behind a little bit, you're out the door and you're on your way. I just think for Matt Rule and his success at Nebraska, you got to be able to just have somebody in the building long enough to develop them so they are your RB1 at some point. And with the transfer portal, it makes it so difficult.
It makes it almost impossible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because now we live in a grass is greener world.
Yeah.
Like, and it's made it, and the portal has made it so easy, right? Kids just aren't thinking long term anymore.
When you see
right, and we're just going to wind up trading athletes around.
Yeah, that's all it is.
We're going to send you our RB4. Now we need an RB4. We'll pick up an RB4 from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Somebody else's RB4.
Yeah.
Well, and so it's my favorite number to throw around, and I believe it was actually our live show with Chris Schmidt where I was corrected on this number. So I've got a better label for it. 49.8% of student athletes, not necessarily football players, when they hit that portal, will either downgrade in institutions or go nowhere.
Yep.
And like you've got a home somewhere, give it time. I understand if you're a grad transfer, again, Casey's situation is his situation. This is the last year. But if you are an AJ Allen, if you've got time to, develop and work with this program, why give up so quickly? It's like, it feels like sometimes, and it's not all of them, but like the second adversity hits, some of these guys are just like, well, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to take the path most traveled, the easy route.
And the thing about AJ Allen too is why did he come here? Because of Brian Applewhite.
Correct.
The TCU connection. So you got a whole new turnover in staff. The staff doesn't seem to talk about you much. Didn't really hear his name.
He was running with the 3s and 4s.
Well, we talked about him a lot after the spring game with 2 fumbles, was it?
Yeah.
3?
I thought it was just one. I thought it was just one. But that's the one that I remember is that fumble. But and then that video comes out of him being coached because he went through the gauntlet and hey, hustle back. Come on. All right, never mind. Screw you. Next guy up.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that ever came out. And so I guess if you're AJ Allen and you see your name in 4th place, it's like, fuck it. Like, I don't have a connection with this staff, really. I might as well just go somewhere else. Brian Applewhite's gone. I guess we're going to go to Buffalo. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why he came here is because of Applewhite, right?
I mean, and if you look at the room, too, it's not like it's very senior-led. Like, we have, of course, Anthony Grant. And he's the one-year guy. But then after that, Ramir still has 2 years. Then you look at Gabe Urban. He has 3 years. If you look at the guys in front of you, you're like, okay, shit. We're
good.
When am I going to play? When am I going to play? And yeah, and I feel the same way. I'm like,
we're good.
We're fine.
You got 3 running backs. You're good because you're good. I mean, you're gonna keep picking up running backs.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it.
Honestly,
I mean, the running back is like that one position on the field where I think it's the easiest to plug and play.
Yeah.
It's the easiest to plug and play. It's probably the hardest to find just like that generational talent. But yeah, you can find a serviceable running back, especially if you can have a decent O-line. You can make that running back look so much better.
Now if we have the 5 skill positions up front, right? If we have the five skill positions up front.
Skill positions up front. I like that. I mean, it's true, though.
I'm a firm believer in it.
Yeah.
I bristle at that skill position thing, and I have for years. But if you have those guys, you can not just get by with a serviceable running back, you can have great success.
Yes.
I mean, I heard some people talking about Emmitt Smith last week, whether or not he was a Hall of Famer, and they were making really good arguments that Emmitt Smith on an average offensive line team wouldn't have been the same guy. Right.
That's
when you got someone like Barry Sanders, who was a horrible team and was still one of the top running backs, that guy's a Hall of Famer.
Well,
right. That guy is possibly the best running back.
The GOAT.
He's like he's in the GOAT argument.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders, because he did what he did with nothing in front of him. Right. And Emmitt Smith did everything with everything in front of him.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
yes,
we still got young guys in that room too, and you're always going to bring in 1 or 2 running backs every class. It's not a big deal. And in the transfer portal, if we want to use it to our benefit, if there's a guy out there,
Easy peasy.
yes, if there's a guy out there like an Anthony Grant, and you're like, oh, cool, let's bring him in. He could fill in and run through these holes, right?
Yep.
As long as the O-line checks out, we're good.
So yes, Daddy Chill.
Want to take a quick break?
Yeah, let's do it.
35
Are we
minutes.
already to break?
Yeah, we're at 36 minutes.
God damn.
Yep.
Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
Thank you, Troy Walters. Again.
Hit record.
Yeah.
Hey, it's recording.
We're good. Now, Eric, before we get into your career, I said this before. I know. It sounds really familiar. We're going to just go through these TikTok comments and questions, all right? Let's see. Kyle Lenhart says, Grant has good vision. I think he will be awesome.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
He played in the spring game. Very cool. Very awesome.
Best practice ever.
It happened. The Sneaker Chef says, checking in as I said I would. Y'all still liking Rule. Now, I'm going to go through this again. Before we went on air, we were talking about the previous. Yes. God. Fucking hate
Twice in one night. Can we throw him out the door?
Yeah, my God.
So this is a good question. A lot of people are going to go, why are you asking us already? Blah, blah, blah. Well, we were reminiscing over the previous guy, head coach Scott.
There we go.
And we're like, okay, was there any moment early on in his tenure to where a red flag should have come up or something he did or said that should have made you go, I don't see this happening in a good way?
When you
Connor.
ask that question, are you talking about our former head coach, Scott, or are you talking about current head coach, Matt Rule? Because the question refers to Matt Rule.
Yes, that's why I'm saying.
Is your question referring to Matt Rule or the other guy?
It's referring to Matt Rule.
Oh, no. Again, I don't think there's been a moment so far that has given me any concern as to Matt Rule. I think he seems like a great guy. We know that he's a proven developer for programs and players themselves and coaches, as we talked about earlier.
No, I've been talking to several people over the last months about this, and I've kind of come to I guess my thought on it is, I think we're all can agree that on this hire we really wanted to be show me, don't tell me. Like, we've seen this before. We got really hurt with the last guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And we wanted to be reserved and not drink any Kool-Aid. Right.
Yep.
And
Rule-Aid.
Yeah. And I kind of realized as I'm having these conversations with people that like over the last decade, 15 years of the slow downfall, we've had all these different coaches that were all very different coaches who checked many boxes, but not all of them, right? So we kind of assembled this list in the back of our head of like, oh, our dream coach would have this, and this list of all the things that our previous coaches had shortcomings on, right? And then Matt gets here, and he starts talking, and you go, check that box, and he starts doing things, and you go, check that box. And he just keeps checking boxes, right? And at some point, even the most reluctant person was like, God damn, I think I kind of, damn it, I like him.
Yeah.
Damn it. God, I'm on board, and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of the sentiment I've gotten from just about everybody, but except for the hardcore hater.
Yeah.
Right. But I think everybody.
Few and far between.
Right. But I think most people are like reluctantly really on board.
Yes.
Even though they didn't want to.
Well, and I think there's still more boxes to be checked.
Yes.
Well,
but we won't see those boxes until the fall. But so far, he just keeps checking boxes off, and you go, like, you know, the whole transfer portal thing. He's not Randall. He's like, okay, we're going to lose some guys. We had to lose guys anyways.
Yeah.
I had this conversation the other day, and granted, it started with the amount of players that have fled Colorado, and then it got I think they're in the 50s.
You want to go off on this one?
Oh,
God.
Because I have very firm opinions on this situation.
Oh, please.
I think
let
we'll
us
get
know.
there, yeah.
Oh, well, I was going to say, like, what has Nebraska lost? I think with the most recent two, we're at 19.
Yeah, I mean it's not,
and that's like the national
it's kind of
average.
it's what we needed to lose anyways.
We were way over.
Now, granted, maybe we would like to trade this guy for that guy, but we don't get to make that call.
Nope.
But we needed to lose bodies anyways. So it is what it is.
I'm not going to bed and crying myself to sleep. Like if we were in the 50s, maybe.
I'm trying to think. Okay, I can think of two things that people will probably blame Rule for if this thing doesn't work. There's two things. The Garrett McGuire hire. I think a lot of people, and I'm trying to reach here a little bit because I am bought in. I am. Garrett McGuire, 24 years old. I think if it doesn't work out, they'll point to that hire and say, what the fuck were you thinking? Right? We can talk ourselves into it and say, he's a kid prodigy. He's a whiz kid.
He's supposed to be a
bright future.
Savant.
Yeah.
Again,
You're
that's
missing
us.
the big one, though.
What?
Retaining Donovan Raiola is going to be the biggest one.
Well, I said there's. Actually, that expands my list to 3 then.
Okay, I didn't know if that was on your list, but to me, and I am bought in on Rule. I'm not drinking any Kool-Aid. I don't have high expectations right off the bat, but I think if you had to nitpick, he kept the previous offensive line coach, and although they got better throughout the year last season, it's not like they were world beaters on the offensive line.
No,
it's the same group.
And if you don't end up getting his nephew, then it's like, well, God damn it, what the hell?
So when you don't end up getting his nephew,
right,
it's going to be like,
if.
Oh, what the hell? It's when.
If.
When.
If.
So that's 2.
Okay. What's the
now
other
third?
one?
If I'm trying to reach here again,
reach.
If Jeff Sims doesn't turn out to be very good, and people are going to go, what the hell? You had Casey Thompson on your roster. Why didn't you just stick with Casey?
Throws more picks than touchdowns.
Yeah, I can squash that one right away. If God forbid, Sims doesn't pan out at the way we want him to, and that people say, "Well, you had Casey, whatever." What the fuck did you want him to do? The man was injured during the spring.
I'm just telling you.
What did you want him to do?
This is what people are gonna say.
Yeah, well, people are dumb.
You're not wrong.
People are dumb.
Yes, they are.
A person can be smart, but people are dumb.
Yes.
Look, being a fan of a football team is. If you
It's
just think
short
about
for fanatic for a reason.
If you just think about what we do, there's no logic to this shit at all. It's all emotion. All right.
Yep.
We come every day or every Monday with that mindset of, hey, we're fans here. Try to leave logic at the door sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's supposed to be fun.
We are four.
This is great. This is fun.
It's okay.
We come here to drink beer and yell at each other about Husker football.
Yeah.
There you
Is
go.
everything logical?
That's right.
God,
Somehow
no.
people listen.
Yeah.
Why do people listen? Who knows? Because they're yelling at their friends and their wives and everybody else.
Just like we are.
Just like we are.
do.
They're like, let's hear what those people have to yell about.
I like to think that there are people at home that listen to us and yell at their speakers as they listen. It's like, no, you're a fucking idiot.
Oh,
Yelling back.
Especially when Connor talks.
Okay, hurtful, but
like
fair.
every week when I'm listening, I'm like, yes, dude.
Shut up.
Why am I still?
You're
pressing
actually
play?
saying what I'm thinking. That's like the one thing about our podcast is like, we're saying what you're thinking. You don't want to think that. We're in your head thinking about those negative thoughts that you have in your head.
Yes.
We're just using our microphone to tell you what you're thinking.
And those 3 things that I pointed out, these are all things that you're going to be saying later, people.
Maybe.
If this thing doesn't work.
If.
I know. I pressed it with it.
You know what's not going to work out?
Don't shut up.
Okay, now,
Coach Prime.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to work.
Hey, what is
way.
your opinion on that?
He's a
shit?
fraud.
There's no way it's a dumpster fire waiting to happen.
Thank you.
Right.
now define dumpster fire. Define it.
Oh, we're seeing the flames being lit right now.
Do you
I'm
think-
telling you right now. When he was hired, my initial reaction was, and I've said it a few times now to people, that there is no way you can build a team centered around we when your coach is centered around me.
Yep.
There is
Goddamn right.
no way you can do it. And I've talked to, and you guys have talked to several former Huskers and blah blah blah. You have to. One of the reasons that Tom and everybody wanted to have walk-ons and local guys make up almost 50% of your roster was because you had to have guys that were not just playing for Nebraska or not just playing at Nebraska, but playing for Nebraska.
Yeah.
Right. and who's Prime going to get, right? Who is he going to get that's going to come into that school and fucking care when you just got rid of?
They were up to like 55 the other day.
They had that legacy kid, right? Who had been there for 2 years, and his dad played.
His dad was a national champion.
You couldn't find a guy that more embodied someone playing for that uniform than that kid. You just cut him loose.
Yep,
because he didn't care.
How are you gonna? And aside from the intangibles of building a culture and a team, just from a logistics standpoint, how is he going to replace those 50 people he got rid of right now?
Yes.
Get them on campus, get them into your program, get used to how you do things, and then fall camp opens and you're gonna install a complete offense and defense and be ready for week 1.
Thank you.
Yeah, it ain't gonna fucking happen. It's a dumpster. And then when it's a dumpster fire this fall.
When he said when?
Oh, it's going to be a dumpster fire. At least early on. They are going to get hammered early on. Yeah. I don't care if you bring in a outstanding talent. They're going to get hammered.
There's no chemistry.
There's no chemistry. There's no timing. There's no, right? They are going to get hammered early. And when they get hammered early, true colors are going to come out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, right. And
I have
Dion show, baby.
And not only that, he took that. I will die on this hill. He only took that job for his son.
Yes.
The second his son leaves or graduates, he's gone.
So
he's not invested in Colorado. He could care less. It is a stepping stone.
He's building his own brand.
I have 2 predictions for Dion and Colorado. Number 1, Dion will improve Colorado. They had a 1-win season last year. They're going to get 2 this year.
How many wins do you have to get to the middle of the Pac-12?
Oh, no, he's going to get 3 or less wins this year. I don't expect more than 3.
But that'll almost take you to the middle of the pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, and then he can say, we're in the middle of the pack in the Pac-12 after year 1. Coming. I'm awesome. We're coming. You ain't coming.
You're
coming in your jeans.
You hit my second prediction dead on. After, I'm going to say year 3, Dion will have been proven as a fraud, as a coach at the Power 5 level. No, yeah, and he's going to run. Dion will not finish a contract. He will run. He is
there for his son and to build it and to make a TV series this fall. If he really cared, he'd be out on the road recruiting himself.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He doesn't want to put any effort into it because he doesn't care.
Well, he thinks because he's a celebrity that they're just going to flood the gates.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a quote from one of the guys who hit the portal that said, Dion really is not hard to find. You just look for the cameras and you'll find Dion. Because he doesn't care about a goddamn thing besides the cameras.
100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's funny because, he's literally openly trying to build his entire roster, the entire thing through the transfer portal. And Kyle, on a smaller scale,
ain't gonna work.
We're talking about basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only 5 guys that play on a basketball court. And we've seen how difficult that is to build through the transfer portal.
Yeah, go talk to Fred about trying to do that.
Yeah, no
year
building,
year after year.
Building chemistry with 5 guys, let alone 22. Sometimes even more than that. We got special teams too, right? Building chemistry with guys that all have to be going in the same direction.
Yep.
And you're going to do that after spring ball?
Yeah.
After?
Yeah.
You're going to let all this shit happen and you're going to build it after spring ball and be ready?
How many times have you heard coaches talk about that bond is built in the off season?
Yes.
That bond, you bleed. Sometimes you bleed, but you sweat and you puke and your pain and all of that is built in the commitment in the off season.
Yep.
And they didn't get any of that.
No, it's going to be a failure. He might bring in a couple good players
and I will eat my words if it winds up being
right
even marginally successful. I'll eat my words, but I'm still. I'll die on the dumpster fire.
What do you think over under 5 wins for Colorado?
Oh, under. I'll take that money all day long.
Yeah. Smart man. I think 3 is about as high as I would go.
Yeah, 3 at most because I don't see them winning a game in their first 6.
That's fair. Looking at their schedule.
There is no. I know. Besides the schedule aside, even if it was just, I'm not even sure they could win what traditionally were preseason. Pre-conference games, right? There's no way they're going to build. How are you going to build timing with your receivers, with your offensive linemen, with all the
tiny
things,
boys,
all the things that have to happen in unison.
They're gone now.
Like a well choreographed dance. They don't have any of that time, and there's no way.
Well, and Mike, you say the tiny boys are gone. Again, I want to point out that Travis Hunter is smaller than I am.
Yeah, Travis Hunter is
Travis Hunter is
five-star guy.
Yeah, he's shorter than me and outweighs me by 15 pounds. Do I look like I'm going to be playing fucking D1 football? No.
At Colorado.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was
hey,
gonna
Dion,
say,
I'm not hard to find.
You might want to go look.
He's going to have to come to me.
So I'm thinking of Colorado, right? One win last year, and Dion comes in, and I think a lot of Buff fans are going, they won one game last year, and like they haven't had a winning season in a really long time,
Right.
and so they're going to say to us, to the skeptics, what they were doing before wasn't working. So let this dude come in, do it his way, with the portal and being a celebrity and making Colorado cool. Just let him do that, because what was happening before was resulting in one win anyway.
Hey.
So their argument would be, I don't give a fuck. Just now we're actually relevant.
Yeah.
Besides the play on the field,
there's really not a whole lot to lose.
there's not. They're just going to lose more games, which they've already been doing, right?
Yeah, whatever.
And so whether this thing turns out to be fucking awesome for Dion or whether it is shitty for Dion, it's going to be 2 years in Colorado as a institution, I think, is going to be like left in the dust.
Possibly. You watch how fast, if it doesn't pan out on the field, like,
meltdowns.
You watch how fast the front range of the Rockies abandons them, because there's other shit to do out there.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Right?
there is.
We got pro sports. I'm going to go for a freaking hike on a Saturday instead of going and sitting and watch. No, there is other shit to do out there. You watch. If it doesn't, regardless of if it doesn't look like a quality product, you watch how fast they abandon the front range abandons Boulder.
Yeah, they're going to go from 100 season ticket holders
Sure,
to 50.
everybody was there for the spring game because they wanted to see the spectacle.
Yep.
Right.
The small boys.
When
the boys with the padded helmets and not being covered.
When it doesn't materialize on the field in the fall in wins and losses.
See ya.
So what you're saying is, if Nebraska goes to Boulder and they fucking lose,
they're not going to lose to Colorado. Not going to happen.
Listen,
Don't speak that into existence.
listen. I'm afraid.
Okay, but
I'm afraid because we're talking all this shit, and
I agree
I'm
with him,
scared now.
I said I will eat my words, but
he is running a university like an NFL team.
Listen, what he did at Jackson State was great, right? But you can do that at a mid-major if you can recruit a bunch of great talent, right? You can win like that at a mid-major.
Yes.
That ain't gonna work.
In the Power 5,
That ain't
which
gonna work
The
up
Pac-12 is barely Power 5, but it ain't gonna work there either.
No, it ain't. It's not. If you think Utah isn't gonna run for 3,000 yards on them, and simply the amount of rushing yards they have is only going to be limited by the time on the clock.
We come.
I don't think you aren't going to see those signs on ESPN this fall.
Oh yeah,
We coming.
As Utah fans will be like, "We coming." Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
UCLA fans will be like, "We coming."
USC,
Right?
we coming.
Washington fans will be like, "We coming," and
Yep.
we're rolling over you.
Yeah.
That was
Right?
I think like, so on the whole, like you asked, like, what do we have to lose? Right.
Respect.
But ultimately, I feel like if I was in that position, the University of Colorado right now is a clown show. Like, it's all led by a guy that's putting together little clips. Did you see after they lost everybody and everybody started freaking out to the transfer portal, he posted a video on Twitter and it was him and some other guy. And he's like, "Oh, he's coming," and they're like laughing, and "Oh, he's coming too." It was like this skit that they put together. It's a total clown show right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so if I'm a
Smoke and mirrors.
fan, I'm like, dude, we're a fucking joke right now. Everybody's laughing at us, and everyone is laughing at you. So
Yeah, I definitely see your, because every time I do a video about Colorado, I always put the circus music.
and it's well deserved.
Yeah,
with the little
absolutely.
Shrek running through the obstacle course,
Yeah.
it's fun. But yeah, I just, people, so what's worse, right? What is worse? People laughing at you not even laughing, because when you're 1-11, you're irrelevant, right? Nobody's even paying attention. But now everybody is watching. Everybody's paying attention. So now when you go 1 or 2 and whatever, it's not going to be irrelevancy. It's going to be people mocking.
And it's amplified. So
Yes.
Dion, even if he needed 3-4 years to rebuild this program, right? Look, he's taking over a 1-win team, right? Even though nobody's there anymore. Even if he needed time, now it is on such a higher scale.
Yeah.
It's going to be so amplified and so much worse.
He should have kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
And just grinded it out humbly.
It's one of those things that even as Husker fans, we've had a tough run in recent years. And, you know, certain fans will tell you, you know, Husker fans, you know, kind of keep quiet until you reach your level again. And for the most part, we have. No one's sitting out here saying we're going to win the Big Ten or anything like that. You
Rules better coach than Saban.
Yeah. Hey, we are
stupid.
Undefeated Twitter poll champions.
No,
But-
we are losing that poll, actually. Thank
are we?
God. Finally.
Saban came back.
I wanted to lose that poll. That's just stupid. It makes
Yeah.
us look dumb.
Yes, agreed. But Dion is taking over a 1-win team and is acting like he is the second coming of Nick Saban. Like, brother, you need to calm down, because like you said, it's just inviting the mockery, because there's like, we're coming from a 4-win season and we're all sitting here saying, you know, 7 wins. We're like, I'll cry.
Oh my
I'll
God,
cry for
7 wins would be a resounding.
Yeah.
I mean, after losing Casey would be a resounding.
Oh yeah.
Success.
A resounding success. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just having a conversation last week with somebody about like why Nebraska fans had bristled so immediately to Dion. And I realized that one of the reasons that I like bristled so immediately to it was like, because we have very recent history with a mid-major coach who was the golden child, who was going to do great things.
Who's that guy?
And was going to change. Look at him. He's over there with his
You got to
finger.
get us in year 2.
He's right.
Now. You got to get us now, because in year 2 it's going to be humming.
They're going to be changing their system for us.
College football was going to change because blah blah blah. Like, we've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And very recently, we're not. I'm not buying your smoke and mirrors this time.
Yeah. Well, I heard Dion said the Pac-12 is going to have to adapt to Colorado, and not the other way around.
I will be very.
No, he didn't. Did he really?
No, but
okay.
our former head coach did.
That's why you got to watch what this dude says, because he says it with a straight face with that fucking mustache, and he'll get you. He'll reel you in.
Yeah.
But say Nat. What it will be very interesting is to see if this thing does in fact turn out to be a dumpster fire. How will Dion end up? Will he be okay? Will his personality is, because look, he's larger than life, right? Could he go back to just doing television with the sunglasses?
He can always go back to just doing television.
100%.
Right, but
the question is going to be whether or not will he ever coach again.
Listen, this athletic director is pissing himself. I'm going to tell you that right now.
He took a fucking gamble.
Because like we just talked about, you, instead of hiring somebody that would come in and humbly work on a 1-11 football team, you guys hired a celebrity to come in, and he's just turned into this celebrity, and everybody's laughing at you. And if you're looking at it, you just lost 55 people, all the things that we've been talking about around this table. There is no way, at least in the first year, you're going to win anything. And so you have just turned your university and your job, you brought this dude in here, and your university, your institution is turning into a joke.
And they can't even afford to pay him yet.
Carnival.
They still can't
Bake
pay
sale.
him.
Hey,
Bake sale.
Yeah.
So Eric, we are talking about Colorado, and I feel like this is a good time to shift into your career as a photographer. You said you've been taking pictures of Nebraska football games since 1993.
Yep.
That would be Big 8 days.
Yep.
Right? Do you have any memorable moments in Boulder, Colorado?
Piss bombs.
You mean besides friends of mine having their tires slashed and my own car keyed, and Boulder fans were horrible.
Yeah, were there any positive memories?
Eating them.
Well, yeah, okay,
right?
that's a good one.
That was always good, right? The stadium, even back then, mostly red.
Sure.
Right. even when they were good, even when they were really, really good, the stadium was like a third red.
Hell yeah.
Right. So that tells you how the Front Range feels about Boulder. Yeah. It's nice and we'll go. But
it's cute.
If these Nebraska people are going to give me $300 a ticket.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
They'll sell them in a heartbeat.
That's a cheeseburger in Colorado, though. It's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, back in those days was, it was Colorado fans and K-State fans kind of sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days, you said?
Yeah, it really hasn't changed a whole
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, I've got a picture from the last time we were out in Boulder, and I was just walking through the stands, and I had stepped off to the side to take this fan picture, and I got this this Nebraska fan in front of me who I was taking a wide angle picture. I was taking a picture of him, and I don't remember, he was talking to somebody, and this hand shoots in from right next to me with a yellow shirt, and he like sticks his hand right in front of and flips the guy off like 2 inches from his face. And the Nebraska fan is just like, like not taking him seriously.
Oh, I just saw that picture. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, if that picture doesn't embody Nebraska and Colorado fans in Boulder, that's it. But they wouldn't let me run it in the magazine.
Didn't you, the most honest, the most candid, the most true to life photo that you probably ever taken?
I lobbied for it, but a couple people bristled at the idea of
You couldn't even like blur it out?
Why blur it out?
You posted it on Instagram, didn't you?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I knew I saw it.
I was like the second it didn't wind up in the magazine, I'm like, God, this is.
Yeah, everyone's gonna see this.
I'm Jared. This one.
Fucking Mel Tucker, fucking motherfucker.
Yeah, that way.
Deion Sanders. We coming. This is coming right now.
We coming. So this event that's coming up, Nebraska Volleyball Day, August 30th. It's going to be the most attended women's sporting event behind the World Cup in the 90s. Maybe might even surpass that. We will see.
If they can cram enough bodies on that field, yeah.
Yeah, I think John Cook came out and said that was the goal. They wanted to set the record. So we will see.
There are like 17,000 people behind, though, aren't they?
Think about how many bodies you could cram onto that football field.
That's fair.
And there's still a lot of people looking for tickets.
Yeah.
Fire codes will be broken. We'll do what we have to fucking do.
I'm just saying,
Fire codes
I'm
are for
going to be
losers.
really mad if they open up better seats now when I got stuck in the south fucking end zone. Because like usually, me being a season ticket holder, right?
Yeah. Oh, are you? Do you hold season tickets?
Weird, right? Normally, I get first dibs at good seats. Like I can go and get 10 seats or whatever my limit is. For this event, it was only volleyball season ticket holders. And I don't give the university enough money to become a volleyball season ticket holder. So I was just like all the other normies that I do this podcast with. And when I got my tickets, they were sold out in east, west, and north. So I had to get south end zone. I can't even see the fucking volleyball match. I'm going to be watching on the big screen anyways.
Yeah, it's just about being there and setting the record. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So we can have those
So
bragging
you can
rights.
say you were there.
Yeah, so we can tell Wisconsin to eat shit.
Your selfie and your Instagram.
Yeah, that's right.
I might not even be there, though, because we'll probably be in Minnesota for the football game.
Yeah.
Throwing out the goal, yeah.
Hey, our staff is doing both.
Well, I was gonna ask you. That's what my question was.
I'm not doing Minnesota. John's doing Minnesota, and I'm going to Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And so you're going to do the volleyball then?
Yeah, I'll be there. John, depending on how they're going to travel, I think our staff is planning on doing volleyball.
Flying the morning of or what?
Driving
the morning of 7 hours?
No, to
Minneapolis? That's
like
7
6.
hours.
No, it's like 6.
It's only like 6. But by the time you would like have to get up, get to the airport, get on a plane, take the hour flight, get your rental car, blah, 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 it's probably going to take you 4.5 hours anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
In your 25-year career, I mean, that volleyball thing is going to be the first. But what would you say is like the most notable event that like you remember? I mean, it could be a Husker game, it could be anything
that I
else,
was there
but
for.
Yeah, any event that you were able to photograph. What would you say is like the foremost?
I don't know. The Fiesta Bowl was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a good one?
You said
that was a good one, and that one actually comes with a really good story because we flew down Omaha to Dallas over to Phoenix, right? And in Dallas, we picked up a bunch of Florida people, right? And one guy in particular, like a, air,
Turf, just
air
dry
raid. You
grass.
can't hold, they were going to pass for 1,000,000 yards and blah, blah, blah.
Werfel.
He went on and on and on. And I just like in typical Nebraska fashion, I was like, all right, well, let's play the game and see how it goes. Well, let's see, because we all, if honest, going into that game, we weren't sure either.
Right.
Because Nebraska had never seen an offense like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the game happens, finishes how it does. And I don't, after I get off the plane, I don't give that guy a second thought, like at any time. But I'll be damned. We get back on the plane and I look down as I'm walking through the aisle and he's sitting right here again. And my seat's right here.
Oh.
And I looked at him and there was that moment of like, he recognized me.
Yeah.
And I was about to start chirping and he just dropped his head and
yeah.
Right.
He knew.
All I said to him that whole flight, and even though I kind of wanted to chirp a little bit, but all I said was, hell of a game.
Yeah.
That's like the most
because the score
humble.
turned out like exactly the opposite of what he was predicting.
Oh yeah.
Right.
They got their
It's got to
ass
feel
beat.
good.
I think they were still scoring when I got on the plane.
There's Tommy. He's still.
Yeah.
All right.
So
run.
You said a word that I didn't recognize. You said bowl.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's these things they used to have at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like
They used to
and
have.
all you had to do was win 6 games to get to go to one.
6 games. Gee, I'm not Alabama.
I'm just saying.
BOLE, Connor, look it up.
Hey, that's great. That's great. Yeah, you say that these bowl games still happen. Yeah, they happen for other teams.
Right.
Every other team.
Yeah, everybody's like, we got to make a bowl. And I'm like, yeah, unless it's a pinstripe bowl.
Well, look,
I'll take what I can get at this
I
point.
know, but you get to watch it on TV or like I'm the one that's got to sit on the freaking sidelines in, freaking New York in December.
I'll tell you what, you get me a sideline pass, I'll keep you company.
Yeah.
I don't think you're the first person he's gonna call with that.
Hey, I might be the 900th, but as long as I'm on the list.
my clout.
you don't want to cover the Charmin Ultrasoft Bowl at Toilet Stadium?
If it's someplace warm, I'll go.
Hey, you said Toilet Stadium. Kinnick's not that bad.
It is that bad.
Yeah,
December it is.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's a shithole. That whole state is.
So what would you say is like the best or loudest place that you've covered a game for?
Ooh.
I should say.
He liked that question because that was mine.
No, that is.
You could ask, are we recording?
Yeah, we're
Did we
recording.
start recording?
I done fucked up twice.
We got to
in
make
this
sure.
episode.
If you told me right now that we weren't recording, I was just going to walk out the door.
Yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah, he leaves and we have all the beer to ourselves.
I don't know. Texas is pretty loud, but I'm telling you though, there's some. I'm not sure. I didn't go to Oregon or Washington when they played those games.
And I heard that those are the two loudest because they got the overhang and all that shit.
Right. But man, I'm not, and I haven't gotten to. Last year was my first time at the big house.
And that's a letdown, isn't it? Like as far as the environment.
It's not a letdown, but the way it's designed, it doesn't hold in sound.
Right.
Right. And the same thing goes for the Rose Bowl. The way it's designed, it doesn't hold in sound. I'm telling you, it might be Memorial Stadium.
No kidding.
The 52-yard kick, I think might be the loudest I've ever heard that stadium. Like so loud, like my ears were ringing when I walked off the field and got into our workroom where it was quiet. That was, boy, that's, and there are several times in the 90s, but there weren't as many bodies in the 90s.
What about the horseshoe? Did you ever go to Ohio State?
I've been to Ohio State.
Is that? I mean, that's pretty loud.
It's pretty loud. But I don't.
Not for Nebraska games.
Right. I don't think the
kicked our
intensity
ass.
was there for the Nebraska game.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it kind of ramped up because it wound up being closer than they wanted it to be.
Oh, yeah.
The year that I was there.
36-28 game or whatever it was.
I mean, it ramped up a little bit, but it wasn't quite the same. I'm sure, Michigan was.
The same thing with
certainly louder.
I mean, I'm sure there's some place on the internet where you can look up like
decibels,
the decibel levels of stadiums and what the record is. But yeah, the 52-yard kick was one of them.
Yeah. Good old
So
Henry.
Yeah, I mean that was insane.
when you went to the Horseshoe, how did the fans treat you? Because I was there for an Ohio State Penn State game wearing Husker gear, and they were
you know
throwing full beers at my head. And I was like, we don't even play each other this season.
Their fans are shit.
They're
when I went
mean.
there too.
Really, I didn't get. In if I was ranking shit fans, they wouldn't have been that. Maybe middle of the pack.
Mid-tier.
Iowa is the.
I wasn't.
shit
I
fan.
wasn't that. I mean, I had good interactions with Ohio State people.
Oh.
Now I'm in a little bit different crowd
Yeah,
than
you-
with the Muggles up in the stands,
Yeah, me.
right?
Yeah.
But I had, it very much felt like the way we used to treat people back in the 90s. Like, oh, nice for you
You're
to
so
come.
cute.
Oh, that
Yeah.
felt
Nice
bad
for
for
you
you.
to come, right? And
Nice
pat him,
guy.
pat him on the head and say thank you for coming and getting your butt kicked,
Yeah.
right? It kind of felt like we were on the flip side
Yeah.
of that, right?
We're probably due for that about now, right?
It's a little humbling.
Yeah.
You said, Iowa fans are shitty. I will give Iowa fans, because I go to the Iowa City game. Almost, I think this was, I've only missed one Nebraska-Iowa game in like 8 years. I will say the fans in Iowa City actually are very nice.
No, fuck them.
They've always been
You're gonna
very
make
nice.
Mike tell his fucking story.
Do I have to tell the story
Dude,
again on
yeah.
the podcast? I drove there in my truck. Someone put a knife to my tonneau cover on my truck.
Okay, well that's fucked up.
I mean, literally.
They've been nice to me. Maybe
No.
they just don't. Maybe just
You were
a
probably
bad
wearing that
person.
purple fucking
I was
shirt.
gonna say,
Fuck you.
Yeah.
He's wearing his Kansas State shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, it's cute. He's a
I was driving a truck that said Nebraska in big letters on the side.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find.
I had a
I'm like
grown ass
the
man
honorable.
spit in my face. I was with an Iowa fan. Like one of my best friends is an Iowa fan.
Oh damn.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe I've been lucky.
No.
Maybe
Fuck.
I've been lucky.
So
Fuck Iowa.
the decibel record is 133.6, and
LSU.
that was at the University of Washington at Husky Stadium in 1992.
I believe it. I
God
believe
damn.
it.
92.
I believe it.
31 years.
Mhm.
That's impressive.
I believe it.
What about Nebraska, Michigan 2021? Or is it 2022? No, 2021. Yeah.
Did you say Michigan or Michigan State?
Michigan State.
No, Nebraska,
No,
Michigan.
Michigan
When they came
State
to-
would have been
The
like
first time
2015,
they did the-
16.
Michigan State was louder.
Really?
Yeah, Michigan State was like what? 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Michigan
15?
Michigan State was louder.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought
because that was the first
loud
time
as
they broke
fuck.
out that
Thunderstruck and
no.
No.
That let me clear my throat.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah,
Which
yeah.
I thought
I was at that game.
at the end, which at the end of the third quarter, that was perfectly timed, and the stadium just like jacked through the roof.
Yep.
And I thought and I was super disappointed because I thought if this doesn't become Nebraska's end of third quarter
I know.
thing, they are fucking stupid. Because having experienced that like in the moment it happened and the way the crowd reacted to it, I thought, I pay the man whatever the hell he wants in royalties so that you can play that once a game.
Yeah.
7 times a year. Who cares?
I totally agree.
Pay the man, let him have
I
it.
think they did though, didn't they? They
Right, but
played that.
well, why did they go away from it? Because they've tried all these other things, and now they're doing this.
It's Thunderstruck now.
Now they're doing this Irish.
The
God, do not get us started.
That is
on
the
that.
worst.
I got a question on here
If
about.
you play it, I'm leaving.
No, I'm not gonna. Listen, we are,
Fuck that song.
I mean, the
Sound
let
like
me clear my throat
hillbillies.
thing was the most organic moment, possibly the most organic moment I've heard in that stadium ever.
And here's my thing about like the Thunderstruck and this like light show and stuff. Okay, take the light show and put "Let Me Clear My Throat" with it, because Thunderstruck, you can't jump to it. You
No.
can't sing to it.
It doesn't make you want to dance and scream and yell, but the other one did.
It was a blast.
And they did it for a
You
short
could
time
feel
afterwards.
it bouncing.
Right?
Yeah.
And they did it for a short time afterward, and then they kind of drifted away from it, and I could never understand why.
I think I know why. Because it's associated with
Bo Pelini.
Mike Riley.
Mike Riley.
Oh, Mike Riley. Was it Mike Riley?
Yeah.
Really? I don't even think about
I don't either. Well,
associate,
no.
I
Yeah,
don't
now-
associate Mike with anything.
I don't know. That's the only reason I can think of.
I associate Mike Riley with a 7-0 start to the season and getting to number 7 in the country. That's the only thing I talk about Mike Riley for.
That's
Yeah, one of our
That ain't
commenters said, "Can we petition to never play that Killigan song again?"
It's
Hey,
fucking terrible.
My
down.
dad,
I will sign that petition in a heartbeat.
my dad, who hasn't been to a Husker game in a long ass time, and he doesn't even pay attention to Husker football really. And he looks over at me, he goes, "What the fuck is this?" And like he's
Garbage.
listen, he's a space case as much as anyone, but he's like, the fuck is this?
Make it sound like
how is this supposed to get everybody excited? And I know they're trying.
There's some people going.
I know, but it doesn't.
Offbeat, of course.
It doesn't.
Like a bunch of fucking seals.
It's just not. They
No,
just need to
it ain't it.
Okay, so we were all at the Pipeline event at HVC when they played Hail Varsity. Did you notice, like, because I was very aware, the clapping was entirely.
You're talking about when they played Serious?
Was it serious that they?
Yeah,
I thought
the tunnel walk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Even then, the fucking clapping was terrible.
Yeah. Well, that's because remember it was like 5-second delay to the back.
Oh,
because,
Oh, dude, even in the
so it
front
was like-
room. Even in the front room, it was terrible.
it was
Like, this is the most, like, I felt like I was at the stadium.
I felt like I felt like royalty at that event. So shout out Hail Varsity Club.
Yeah,
for
shout
hooking
out.
it up. We're sitting next to Gary Saddlemeyer and Kent Pilvelka. That was fucking sweet. That's all I got. That was fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were going through stories and stuff, and you've been around Kent Pavelka, I can assume. He was a very, his phone was going off during the, and he's like, this damn phone, shut up.
He looked like a typical old man that didn't know how to work technology, and we're like,
There's this little thing on the side.
they're talking.
Kent, come on, man.
Even Gary's sitting there like, and he's fucking. I
out.
think he's got to be older than Kent, and he's just sitting there like, "Hey, Kent, you got to hit the button there."
I love it.
It was awesome.
Oh, it's so fun.
I don't know. We've been going a while.
We've gone a while.
But like, just another question I wanted to ask you, and you don't have to name names or anything, but who would you say are like your favorite players that you got to cover? Maybe not so favorite.
Favorite players
or coaches, just people you like really wanted to be around just because of their personality, and vice versa too, if you don't mind.
Oh, what players?
Oh, yeah, or people that
or coaches
that bristled against, being covered by you.
I say Tommy wasn't really happy about dealing with the media.
Yeah, I believe that.
And he still isn't.
Yeah,
to be honest.
We know.
We know. Still hasn't came on.
Yeah,
It's okay.
And
It's
he
all right.
probably won't. But there were other ones that were a lot of fun to be around. DB was great in his playing days. Clinton was awesome. God, there've been a lot of guys over the years, all the way up to Garrett. When we did our, I got to spend 2 or 3 hours with him when we did our cover of last year's yearbook. That's some of the best stuff. Like when you really get to spend some time with somebody, get to know them. The year before that, we did Ben Stilley, and he's like, that's
Genuine
dudes. That's the kid you want in your program.
Yeah, a Nebraska kid.
Right, a Nebraska kid makes good. That's the kid that's gonna fight and die for the Scarlet and Cream, right?
Yeah. We say the same thing about just having former players and stuff on the podcast. Like getting to just sit down and just talk and drink a couple beers with somebody like that and just get to know them a little bit, just rather than watching them on TV every Saturday.
Well, you saw it at the Pipeline event when you get those guys a couple beers and get them to start talking.
yeah. It's hilarious.
Just sit back and listen.
Yeah.
'Cause that's where you're going to hear the real stuff.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we heard at that event was the real stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Gold.
And we would be remiss to not mention Garrett Nelson. I mean, look, he was Husker born and bred. He's the dude who embodied Nebraska passion. Signed with the Dolphins. So the Dolphins are getting a dude that loves football and will cut his own finger off to play special
See
teams.
him stick around one more year.
Yeah,
I think he had a place in this defense.
I think so too.
Oh yeah.
I think he had a place in this.
And we
defense.
even said like he would have been like the perfect transition guy.
Yep.
To go from one regime who was supposed to be the golden child to this new regime that doesn't know anything about Nebraska and is actually embracing Nebraska better than the past regime.
He could also, put his hand in the dirt. He could also play outside linebacker.
Yes.
I mean,
it's a big body.
Or they, if he's put on some LBs the last couple of years, maybe he's an inside backer.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have looked at him and the way he moves and go, you know what? You're an inside backer at the next level.
I'm sure Rule would have appreciated him coming back,
I would
especially
agree.
because they
How
lost
could
a
you
lot.
not? I mean, he's exactly the kid that you want to keep around to build your program around.
Yeah. I was disappointed because I'm sure his NFL aspirations didn't go the way he had expected them to go, but he could have been an undrafted free agent if he came back after this year too.
Sure. His stock wasn't going to get any lower.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it couldn't have gone down. It can only go up from last year.
I mean, barring an injury, but
Yes.
barring an injury, the stock wasn't going to get any lower.
Yeah.
Which is, I just wish some more of these guys would explore the draft without getting an agent, so that they could always go, you know what? No,
Never
I'll
mind.
stay.
Yeah.
I'll stay.
Can you even do that?
Yeah, as long as from my understanding, as long as you don't, and you know, if somebody is, if I have it wrong, correct me. But my understanding is, as long as you don't sign an agent, right, and start talking money,
like Keisei Tominaga is doing
Right.
right now with basketball.
right,
Yeah.
right. So you could if you didn't, theoretically, the way I understand it, and if I'm wrong, tell me. If you didn't sign an agent and went through the draft and didn't like where you were drafted,
You go back.
you could just go, yeah, no, I'll stay.
That's interesting.
I feel like
You know,
players
like
would do that more
like
often.
like it happens in baseball every single year.
Yep.
Guys get drafted and they go, no,
Nah.
I'll do another year of college, right, and work on some stuff, right? NBA,
NBA, they do
The-
like
the-
a draft like projection thing where it's like, hey, where would I go?
the NFL should, I think, it would be nice if they did something like that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or or the NCAA actually,
I mean, there's
you know,
just so
create
many-
an environment where these kids can go explore it and go, all right, maybe I overestimated
You
how
let
good
them
I am.
you let them explore the transfer portal, and they can come back if they want to.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing.
So I wish it would be more like that, because then maybe Garrett would have went, this didn't go how I thought. I'll go play another year.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you they'd take him back in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Even missing spring ball. The guy doesn't need spring ball.
But if it became a regular thing, nobody would think anything of it,
yes.
right? It wouldn't be he's trying the NFL draft. It would be he's trying the NFL draft.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, he'll come back.
Any reasonable person that has lofty goals like that, especially us here in Nebraska, I think we understand that that's his life goal. I mean, that's his dream.
Right.
I mean, if he didn't explore it, be like, what the hell's wrong with you? At least see.
Right.
where
But
you
now
fall.
if he had the option to come back and work on some different parts of his game, or, you know, the NFL people said, God, you know, if you put on 10 more pounds, you could be an inside linebacker.
Yeah.
And he'd go, oh, all right, Matt, this
Got
is what they said.
And Matt would know
Former
that.
head coach.
Matt
Because he
would.
was
You're right.
there. He's seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I guarantee you, Matt could have looked at Garrett and been like, "Hey, I've seen a guy like you on this particular team. Like, this is what you need to do to get to this spot in the draft."
Yep.
I just feel like he had his mind made up before. No matter what would have happened, that's what he was going to do.
I think you might be right.
Yeah,
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions they want to touch on?
I
We're
think
good.
so.
I'm set.
Okay. Well, Eric, as we start to sign off and before we thank you, if you could tell the listeners where they can find you, the work that you are doing, just tell them what's going on in your life.
What's going on in my life?
what's
Well,
going
it's baseball season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's some baseball, softball, kind of, but mostly my season is kind of winding down a little bit in terms of, obviously, in terms of sports recovering. Baseball doesn't look like it's going to give me a postseason. So
Big
That's
Ten,
a-
Big
that's
Ten
a
tournament.
fair-
Big Ten tournament.
It's a fair assumption.
okay, I'm not making plans. By the way.
He said,
As you should. And the tournament isn't freaking
So,
Omaha anyway.
You know, we'll get into the summer and we'll work on some of the yearbook and some more evergreen features and things like that. But largely the summer for me is like just kind of battery recharging
Mm-hmm.
and sending gear into the, back to Sony and get cleaned up and all that kind of stuff and ready for the next season. Because the fall is like
Madness.
it's madness between volleyball and football. It just feels like it's nonstop.
Well, tell them about the podcast that you're currently doing.
Well, I'm doing Brady Altman's and I from the magazine started a podcast this winter called The Eye Test.
Great name, by the way.
Because it's centered around, because we talk a lot about things that are like non-quantifiable, like the eye test. Does it look like football? Right? Does it look like volleyball? So that name just kind of popped out, and it kind of worked with the photography thing, and
It's beautiful.
right, and it just kind of all ties it together. But we like to talk about, because right now we're only going every 2 weeks. We can't talk about the timely things.
Yeah.
Right. Like if we talk about what happened today, by the time we drop that thing 2 weeks from now, you all will have covered it to the point that nobody else wants to hear another word about it.
Right. Yeah.
So we try and, but I'm always interested in talking about some of the non-tangible concepts of athletics and sports. You know, the how you motivate people, the how you build grit and toughness and bring that out of people, how you build a culture and a team. And those kind of things have always been far more interesting to talk about than X's and O's for me. Because I've always been the body language coach whenever I was coaching. Body language, effort, and attitude, that was my mantra. X's and O's, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But give me a good kid, and we can teach him how to play.
Yeah.
But give me a bad kid, and you can't teach him anything.
That's right.
So
okay. Well, Eric Francis, the lead senior veteran photographer for Hill Varsity,
Captain,
king of Hill Varsity
captain.
photography.
You're gonna get me the C patch.
Hell yeah. You get the C patch from us.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on No Block, No Rock. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was great.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Glad you had a good experience.
It was a good time.
With your hef. Okay. At NBNR Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. What am I missing? Don't do the crown. Shut up. Shut up.
I do want to say we'll see you here in August
for the Nebraska
Yes, we
Podcast
can-
Award Show.
I'll be here in support of everybody who wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So will we.
Yeah.
True.
It's a fan vote.
It's what's that old thing? It's an honor just to be nominated.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
You love me.
Just imagine
Oh, jeez.
if we.
There we go.
Mike, do you want to push the apparel company?
Yes, we finally dropped some new merch. We will send out the link this week. Got some cool shit,
dude. The
name
polos.
brand stuff. The polos,
The
Adidas,
polos look fucking sick. The quarter
Adidas dry
zips.
fit shit.
Ooh.
I mean, we're rolling out a little bit of a alternative logo for MBNR as well that I think you guys will like. If you love the podcast, go buy something. I mean, we're not making billions of dollars if you guys buy something, but any dollar we do make goes back to the podcast, back to the former players and guests that we have to provide drinks, food, etc., improve our equipment, all that stuff. So if you do like what you hear, if you have someone who's never listened to us, tell them about it. Share the merch, buy some merch. You know,
Yeah, do you want to say who's doing the merch? Are we saying who's doing it or what?
Yes, Evans Custom Apparel. It's a local company here in Omaha, right down the road from here. Shout out to Evans Custom Apparel. I can't wait to buy a couple things so we can show it off on some of the episodes, do some photo shoots and shit. But yeah, we are very excited to partner with them. Support local breweries, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's sign off. Guys, I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Kyle Byers.
Connor Cadillac.
Eric Francis.
As always, beat Minnesota and beat Colorado, please.
Beat Prime.
Beat Prime. Colorado fans, we coming. And GBR.